Alrighty folks, so went ahead and been working on our Durango here, and if we notice there, a little surprise. It's moved out of its resting spot for 8 months. So, take a look at it. Looky here, looky here. Look, we got back wheels on now. And we got the front. Looky here. She's coming back to life. Oh, we got our wheels and tires back on it. Looky here. The ram horn back in. I am missing one, unfortunately, for the driver's side. So I'll order one up a little bit later. But looky here. So this is what we got here. We got them back on. We got our brand new drums on here. Our new wheel lugs. I reused the wheel studs. We got our brand new axle in it. Went ahead and underneath here, I'll show y'all what I got under here done. So I went ahead and I got our differential cover back on. Now it's not permanent yet. I still have to pull it back off and clean the cover up and throw our gasket on and fill it up with gear oil. I just moved it back just a little bit. And it's not gonna hurt nothing. But anyway, I moved it on back here and got to clean that up, filled up gear oil. I went ahead and checked our vent tube up here and made sure all that was good. I blowed it out. I'm glad I did. It was clogged. You could barely blow through it. So I pulled this cap off here and I blowed through this hose and cleared that out. And there we go. I cleared that hose out, and then there's a little fitting down here at a rear end here. And once I got the hose unclogged, that was almost stopped up too. So I made sure and cleared that out too. So always make sure everything's completely clear, because that's your vent hose there. And if you don't, what will happen is, like I mentioned before, it'll push gear oil back out them seals. And I've seen in some cases, like my C10, will actually blow the seal out. But that's what we got here. I was able to get our drain plug, not a drain plug, but our fill plug out. Got it back in for now. But like I said, I gotta pull this differential cover back off and clean up our gasket surface area and put it back on for good and fill it up with gear oil. And this will wrap up the rear end on this thing. A little better view of it, but that'll wrap everything up back here. And then if we move on, apologize for the video quality, it sucks, but got our wheels and tires back on, so that wraps all that up there. Our drums are on, the back brakes are completely redone. Our new wheel cylinders have been bled. They might need to be bled again, but they feel pretty good. I'll know a little more once I take down the road. But all new ball joints, all new tie rods. Got new wheel bearings on it. They're a year old, but they were replaced last year. But it's got new wheel bearings completely all the way around. It's got new wheel seals all the way around. It's got what else? We got new tie rods. We got a new drag link. We got a new steering box. New power steering pump. We got a new power steering box. And none of this has to do with the accident. It's just, you know, fixing it so that it's right. But we got our hood latch on. We got our radiator support bolted up completely. Our radiator's bolted in. All that's finished up. I got to take and adjust this hood just a little bit more, but I had to play fed a little bit. But other than that, all that is done and knocked out. Our radiator support's bolted on. Bumper's bolted on completely. The license plate is bolted on. Well, fitted on, I guess you would say. We got a new idler pulley up here, got a new belt, the Harmont bouncer and pulley, that's all made into one piece. That was replaced last year. It's got a new water pump and a new heater hose fitting on it here. Got an alternator on it that was replaced last year as well. Got a brand new tensioner that was put on it. New upper and lower hoses, they were done last year. It did not hurt them at all. And got a brand new radiator, obviously, because that damaged in the accident. Got a brand new fan and fan clutch. That's been replaced as well. It's got, before it got into the accident, it's got new plugs in it, new plug wires, new cap, rotor, distributor. It's a reman distributor in it. That's been done as well. I got everything working on it. All our headlights work, turn signals 4 ways. I got our washer working, our wipers work, thank God, if you haven't watched my videos already. But that pile of shit over there is what I call the basket case C10. And don't get me wrong, I love that truck to death, I do, but that thing is a basket case. But oh man, it's gonna be so much nicer. Got our battery in, got our battery tray put back in, our fuse panels put back in. I still got to go in here and I'm gonna bypass this ABS module, so because the brain box is basically no good, don't need it, so I'm gonna bypass all that. That's still a future project to do yet. And then we're still gonna do our brake booster. I did put a new master cylinder on it. That was done after the accident. I put this air cleaner on it for now. I kind of don't, in one way I like it, another way I don't. Got rid of the box, got more clearance under the hood, but I don't like it because it just kind of don't look right. But I don't know, I might keep it on for now. I might put the box back on. I still got the air box, all that's sitting over there. But anyway, this has been a long journey, and it's still not quite finished, but it's almost at the point now I can almost drive. I got to wrap up the rear end there, get our cover sealed up and filled up gear oil, and then I got some issues going on here with their transmission lines here. I've been trying to spray up inside these fittings here, trying to get these things freed up, and I cannot get them freed up because I got to get them tied in. That's our transmission cooling lines. I got to get them tied into our new ones down here for our radiator. And if I can't get them, I'm just gonna cut them, and then I'll just flare them, and then I'll take and I'll just take and make old school lines, basically what I call it. Not really old school, but just the old way of doing it. I'll just flare them up, and it'll have 2 hard lines, and it won't have any of that quick disconnect crap. I'll just do it that way if it comes down to it. But I'm gonna still play with them a little bit more. Might be able to get them apart, I'm sure I can, but I'll mess with that a little bit more. But it's been a long journey. This thing has had a pile of stuff done. It's got new shocks on it as well, and I think I already mentioned already, it's got upper and lower ball joints have been replaced. The steering box, like I said earlier, it's got a new power steering lines down there. Got a new steering box that's been on there too, and all the steering has been completely redone. The steering column shaft that was replaced last year. I have another one I could put on there if I want it, but this thing has just had a pile of stuff done. But if I haven't mentioned already, I replaced the axle on the passenger side on the rear there because it had way too much wear on it, and I didn't want to buy a repair bearing. I did actually try it, but it's got too much of a groove in it. It just had, you could take your hand and pick that axle up. It just had too much play in it, and to me, that's putting a band-aid on it regardless. Even if the repair bearing worked, to me, that's just throwing a band-aid on it. That's not the correct way to fix it, and I just bought a whole nother axle. And that was kind of a nightmare too, but I finally got it. It wasn't so much finding the correct one, it was, gotta love family, but the shipment came in, and just because the box was damaged don't mean the axle inside was damaged. I'm sure it wasn't, but it accidentally got sent back. It was refused, so I had to wait a whole nother week on that axle there, so that was a big mess. Still ain't got refunded for that yet. They got it back, they received it, but I'm waiting on my refund for that. And then of course I bought another one from another place, and come to find out it's the same manufacturer of the other one I bought, but still waiting on the refund for that. It's only 120 bucks, but you know, it's just that's what I'm saying too, is go and put an axle in. I mean, you're gonna spend, you know, what, 40 to 50 bucks for a repair bearing, and when you can spend what, 60 bucks more, 70 bucks more, something like that, and just do it right. I mean, this vehicle's, it's gotta last. You know, I gotta get at least, you know, 2-3 years out of it. 3 would be nice. And until I can, you know, eventually get something newer and better. And I'll probably get another Durango, because it's kind of what I like, or either a Jeep or something like that. But I want another 4-wheel drive, and they're not hard to work on. They're really not. I don't know what, you know, I was complaining about, you know, being younger and all that. I hated 4-wheel drive, and I liked it during the winter and all that, but I hated working on it. Just hated it. You know, when it come down to pulling transmissions out and all that, you mess with the transfer case and all that mess. Now I look back on it, I think it's just stupid, really. I mean, it's not like you can unbolt the transfer case and pull that off and then pull the transmission, so you're not, you know, lifting all that weight up. And you know, I'm a shade tree kind of guy and work on stuff in the shade here, and that's why they make transmission jacks. You know, I look back on all that and that's just stupid. But anyway, but that's where we're at. It's a few other things I haven't mentioned yet that been done too, and had spent some time on them upper shock bolts there. I had to grind the heads off, and that was kind of close to the gas tank, so I had to be really careful with that. But I couldn't get them all unbolted. They were so rusted up, so I just ground the heads off, put on new hardware for our rear shocks here. I'll see a little bit, but it's got all new hardware. Kind of mentioned that before, but got that done. I did get all the airbag light was on, the ABS light was on, and the brake light. All of them were on. And I don't have a scanner tool. I mean, I know how to use one. I can clear codes off if I want it. I know why the ABS light is on, and that's because the sensors on the front, I replaced them, and it did not work. It didn't turn the light off, and you know, I tried clearing off and all that crap, and it still stayed on. So I don't know if it was the rear one or the front or what, but anyway, I took I just got tired of that stupid light being on, and I just took the bulb out of it. So not the right way to do it, but you know, ABS, you don't need it. And you know, look at all my vehicles. They didn't have ABS. That didn't have ABS. My Edsel didn't either, way over there. And you don't need it. You don't. So we're gonna delete the ABS eventually in the near future. But we turn our key on here, and it makes it nice to shut the door. And anyway, so we turn our key. Let me turn the key back on. So we turn our key back on. So we got all the lights come on. They all go off like it's supposed to. Our seatbelt, all that stuff goes off. So we used to have ABS. That was on. All right, hush up here. I love that dinging noise. But anyway, our ABS was on, and our brake light was on, and our airbag was on. They were staying on, and I got tired of it, and I just popped this cover off here. And I know why the airbag light is on. There's a sensor that's under this hood here on these Durangos, and this hood did not have it. And I'm not going to waste money on an airbag sensor. I'd rather spend the money, you know, like on things I need, like the axle and brakes and stuff like that. You don't really need airbags. And once again, that didn't have airbags. They didn't have airbags. They didn't have ABS. You know, and so I'm going to take and I'm not going to fix it. You know, it doesn't affect anything. Just keep in mind, however, if you get in an accident, the airbag won't go off. But that sensor, the hood, it didn't have it before the accident either. And the airbags, you know, they did not go off, obviously, at all. You know, the accident was, you know, it was bad, but it was kind of minor, really. But nobody got hurt, thank God. Thank God. But anyway, praise the Lord. But I just took and, you know, I tried clearing codes, doing all that rigmarole, and I just got sick of it. And you know, I've heard so many theories about state inspection, they won't pass it if the airbag light and all that messes on, so I just took the bulbs out. I mean, it just, that way I ain't got to worry about it, and I ain't sitting there staring at an airbag light, you know, at nighttime. They're driving to work, and I just took the bulb out, you know. I mean, it's not really the correct way to do it, but I'm not going to spend money in airbag sensor and ABS sensors when I've tried it anyway, and well, except for airbag sensor under the hood there. But I'm not going to waste money on ABS sensors when I've replaced them, you know, before, and the light, and even try clearing it off and all that rigmarole, and it still stayed on. So I cut them off. I deleted the ABS on the front, and haven't did it to the back yet, but I'm trying to be a little careful about that, because, you know, sometimes you got to watch the ABS is tied in with the cruise control. I'm not 100% sure on that, and it actually might be tied into we call it open loop, closed loop when you're cruising on the highway. So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, you know, I might be wrong on that, but, you know, you got to be careful on that too. But it didn't affect this at all. And that was before the accident. I mean, it don't run no different at all. It runs the same. So anyway, it's where we're at. And got our fenders on, got our hood on, replaced our hood hinges. I still got that little bar piece I got to throw on here that goes in front of a radiator here. That is over here, buried in the leaves. Now you can't see it. But this little V, of course, I gotta replace it and put it back on. These two are slightly different. Slightly there. There's the top. There's the other one. I gotta throw that on. It's just a couple bolts there, but deleted all the AC junk and pulled the compressor and all that mess off, because last year I was moving vehicles around, and I had a board on the bumper here, and I was pushing vehicles around, and it kicked back and it came into the condenser, and it punched a hole in it, and I lost all the refrigerant. And I just, you know, before it didn't work anyway. I'm sure it just needed charged or something, or you know, just lines replaced, O-rings, stuff like that. But I'm not going to fix it. It's not worth it. You know, this vehicle's paid for it. It's just not worth fixing. You know, if I get it, when I get a newer vehicle and all that, that's a little different story. But, you know, on this, it's not worth it. And I took in, rather than spend money, and I mentioned this before, and wasting money on a dummy pulley, what I call it, or like an idler pulley, basically, to bolt in place of your AC compressor there. I just, you know, pulled all that off and did away with all the lines and everything, and just ran a shorter belt. To me, that's the correct way to do it. You know, just better that way. And yeah, you gotta stare at an empty spot there. But I thought about taking a cutoff wheel and, you know, cutting this off and just leaving the alternator bracket, or looking at other you know, Dodge Rams or Durangos of the era that didn't have this AC piece at all on it, and just deleting it completely, where, you know, it just looks like it's a non-AC vehicle, and then make it look cleaner and all that, so it don't look like somebody just unbolted it and, you know, tossed it aside like I did here. But we're on this video here, and we're getting closer and closer to the final video on this series here. And, you know, I'll call it a series, but the story of our long live our Durango here. So we're getting closer to getting on the road, and we're getting closer to the final video. And when I say final video, I mean as far as, you know, the recovering from the accident and all that. And that's, you know, been a long 8 months. But, you know, it just goes to show that, you know, it'll be a lot safer now. And, you know, it's got all new brakes all around, new rotors and calipers and pads and brake shoes, all the hardware. I mean, everything has been gone through on them. And that's, you know, don't play around with your brakes. Don't. I mean, it had good brakes before, but it's just, you know, I went through and, you know, it needed pads. They, you know, were a little bit worn, and the shoes were a little bit worn. Not horrible, but I actually got them sitting over here somewhere. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, there they are right there. They weren't that horrible. and I've showed them before, but it's just, you know, it's the domino effect. And it's the domino effect. Oh, and it's got a new idler arm on it, new pitman arm. Had a couple issues with the idler arm because some of them, the top bolt here is drilled, I believe, to a 14 millimeter, and on this Durango, I think it's a 16 or 18. It's bigger anyway. Yeah, I could just drilled it out and made it work, but I just, you know, took it back to the parts place and just swapped it out for the correct one because I don't feel like drilling it and all that, and that's probably hard and all that, and I just, you know, just switched it out. So I had a couple issues with that, but anyway, that's in the video here, and that'll be it for this one. And it won't be the end of the story on our long-lived Durango here, but like I said, when I say final video, it'll be the final video as far as, you know, like I mentioned, recovering from the accident. There will be more videos to come. You know, it will. We'll have more progress videos on this thing as we drive it along and enjoy it, and, you know, just be safe. There'll be more to come, but I'm just getting more relieved now that it's getting closer, and like I mentioned many times before, I can get out of this pile of shit. And, you know, oh, I'm sorry, did I say pile of shit? Not pile of shit, I mean basket case. But, and that's our basket case C10, and I'd just be glad to get out of that thing for a while and park it and fix it like it needs to be. And hopefully, you know, it's not like, you know, something else. You spend all this time and money and fixing one thing up, and the other one gets running the ground, then you got to keep going back and forth between the two. And, you know, I want to get them all straightened out and just be done with it for a while. So we'll be getting back on that and working on that again. And that's our basket case C10, our long live our Durango here, and that's our mystery Biscayne here. And I say mystery because you can't ever figure everything out, and I did. I want to thank After 5 Auto. I knew it existed. I think I might have already did it already in the past video, but I want to thank him big time because he finally found a photograph, and I will show that, of that center dash molding. You can't find it nowhere, and I've watched all over YouTube, and even just watching videos of, you know, Impalas, Biscaynes, Bel Airs, just all that stuff. Nobody comes up, you know, and films like this, you know, it shows the speaker, it shows the center molding there, but it could be easily made. They of course don't reproduce it, but I knew they made one. I knew they did, and thank you After 5 Auto. And finally, I could not find an actual photograph of one, but thank you, buddy. And so glad of that. I mean, it's now I got a photograph. I might just make it myself. I mean, that ain't nothing. But anyway, that's where we're at here. There'll be more videos to come. And it's so nice now. I finally got our Durango moved. Thank God. It's been sitting there for 8 long months. 8 long months. So it's finally out of its hole. The cinder blocks are tossed to the side. It won't be long, and be going down the road. Y'all take care. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye. So exciting.